Welcome back, everybody, to a brand new episode of Over the Top Talk. I'm your host, Owen, and as always, I have my co host, Anthony, with me today as we
What's up?
make our final predictions for Survivor Series 2025. That is now only a few days away, and it's also the first Survivor Series on the ESPN platform or subscription, as some would say. But
Yes, sir.
just before we get into our predictions, everybody, make sure to drop a sub. We're close to 200 subs on YouTube. Also, make sure to follow us on Instagram, where we're probably most active. We're pretty close to 2,000 followers over on there. And like I said, over there on Instagram, you'll get content pretty much every single day. And um, you'll also get clips from this prediction video over on there. So it's Over the Top Talk on Instagram. Make sure to check us out. And just before we start this, Anthony, how do we
hmm
feel about the we got the first couple looks at how the stadium looks? How do you like how the Survivor Series stadium looks so far?
Well, from what we've seen, the little bit we've seen so far, I think it's incredible. I think it's amazing. It's kind of given that WrestleMania feel. The outdoor stadium, I love it. I love the look of it. I love how they have that big atmosphere, and it kind of like I've always liked how it starts off. It's a daytime out, and then as the show goes on, it gets darker and darker. And I think just the whole setup, the whole environment is going to be great. I think it's going to be a great show, and the venue is just perfect for it.
Yeah, and obviously, like I mentioned before, we're from the time of this recording, we're only a couple days out now from Survivor Series. And to kind of start this, I want to start with a one half of the woman in this match actually hasn't been seen in a long time.
hmm
And I think, if I'm not wrong, this is Stephanie Valcair's first Survivor Series on the main roster. And obviously, it's the Women's World Championship match between Stephanie Valcair and Nikki Bella. Like I
hmm
mentioned, we haven't seen Nikki Bella really wrestle on a main PLE in a long time now, a little bit.
hmm
And um, I've kind of found the build up to this match a little bit weird. I know we saw kind of Nikki Bella turn heel, which everybody predicted was going to happen. Ended up
Yeah.
happening kind of at a weird spot. Then from there, we kind of got one little Raw segment where obviously Nikki Bella attacked Stephanie Valkyrie from behind, which ultimately led to this matchup being made. But prediction wise, I really don't see them taking the belt off of Stephanie Valkyrie. And I think this is also a moment. I know there's a superstar waiting to return, and that's Liv Morgan. And I think this is the perfect match for her to make her return. Just because right before she got injured, obviously she was supposed to have this feud with Nikki Bella. Obviously, Liv Morgan ended up getting injured, which kind of derailed their plans for the Nikki Bella feud. So I think this is perfect for a Liv Morgan return to cost Nikki Bella the Women's World Championship. And
hmm
I really see Stephanie Valkyrie retaining here because of a Liv Morgan interference. But how do you feel about this
Yeah.
matchup?
Um, I feel bad saying this. I don't know how you feel, but I've never really been the biggest Nikki Bella fan. I found her, I find her promos a little bit, boring and lackluster. And this heel turn, before it happened, everybody on the IWC and all like that, we were predicting that this would happen, and it happened the exact way we did. She backstabbed her with her belt and all that. And I don't think the build has really been that good. I don't think much care has really been put into this match, and I think the match is probably going to be fine. We know Stephanie Vaquer is, she's one of the finest in ring talent that they got on the roster. Nikki Bella, obviously a Hall of Famer. She's in her second run right now. And we've had teases about Brie Bella possibly coming back, so I really don't see Nikki really staying in this championship picture for that long. And I agree. I think this is a perfect spot for Liv Morgan to come back. Maybe just attacking Nikki and calling her shot back for that title. She said, when she comes back, she's coming for gold. So I think she'll be back here, and I think she's gonna ignite a feud with um with Stephanie Valquer, and that'll probably go probably past December, go through all that December into January, maybe even into the Rumble season. So we'll probably get that big feud, and I think we get Nikki Bella kind of going back into the mid card scene, carrying on this heel persona, either with a returning Brie Bella or just doing her own thing, but. Prediction wise, give me Stephanie Valquer.
Yeah, when it comes to champions on this card, there's only one other championship match on this card, and that's obviously John Cena's last title defense. I think he's gonna drop the title. That's my prediction. I'll say quickly, but in general, I think this is gonna be a great match. We already saw these two over on Raw, which
Mhm.
was obviously at TD Garden, hometown of Boston, and they put on a great show. Only thing I wish was that match wasn't interrupted by like 18 commercial breaks.
Yeah.
Obviously, this time around, we're in Dominic Mysterio's hometown of San Diego. I also think this is a perfect spot to kind of put him over, um, just
Yeah.
because he's at home. The fans have kind of turned on him only because he's facing John Cena, and it's obviously one of John Cena's last appearances, final two appearances after this. As we know, he'll have one more appearance left, which is his last match. But ultimately, I'm not going to overthink it. I think Dominic Mysterio is going to get the pin over Cena, whether it's clean, probably not going to be clean, probably some Judgment Day interference in
Yeah.
that. But at the end of the day, Dominic Mysterio, perfect chance to put him over in his hometown and just give me Dominic Mysterio. And obviously, John Cena will have one more tour date after this. So
Mhm.
what are your thoughts on this match?
Yeah. Um, I've heard many complaints about, how John Cena has already faced Dom, and this is going to be their second time meeting, and people are calling it a waste of an appearance and stuff. They want to see new, fresh material. But, what has John Cena always been? He's always been that guy who loves to put over talent. And this is, no more than that. I think he's going to definitely put over Dom. I think the match is going to be great. Obviously, Dom being the hometown boy. Um, we're definitely probably gonna see a Rey Mysterio appearance at some point during this match, give that crowd the pop that they need, and I think we're probably gonna see Judgment Day 2 coming out. A side plot here, maybe we start to, build more layers into that, Finn Balor eventually turning on Dom and more into that Judgment Day layer thing, because we've been getting hints, for multiple, it's been years at this point of the Judgment Day breaking up, and it just hasn't happened yet. So it would be very interesting to see them having these issues like that, with a potential breakup and Liv Morgan returning on the same card. I think that would do wonders, and it would be great to see. But give me Dom, give me him getting that pin over Cena and regaining his IC title. And I think another part of this that I want to talk about is I think this is going to make it better for Cena's final match. Him kind of going in clean without a title on the line. It's just going to be there for Cena one on one with whoever wins this gauntlet. No title on the line, just two men going at it for this final spot. Will Cena win, or will he go on a loss? So I feel like that probably adds more layers to it, makes it more deep, and Dom can go on being double champ like he is right now, and keep adding layers to this Judgment Day stories with Rey Mysterio, stories down AAA. I think Dom has a very he's already on the top of the mountain right now. The fans love him, and it's only going to get higher and higher for him. So maybe this win over Cena will just completely boost him even more than he already is right now. So I'm looking forward to it, and give me Dominic Mysterio.
Yeah, when we talk about Survivor Series in general, obviously the two matches we just talked about are going to be really good matches, I think. But to be honest, when we're watching Survivor Series, we're thinking about the two matches that have 2 rings, 1 cage, a
Yep.
ton of superstars. And starting with the women's war games specifically, I think the women's match in general the past couple years has been really good, and I think we're preparing for another great women's war game match, especially the talent that's in it this year. Just some of the spotlights, I guess you can say. AJ Lee's obviously in there. Becky Lynch. We got Rhea Ripley, Charlotte Flair, Asuka, Io Sky. There's lots of star power in there.
Yep.
If I'm making a prediction specifically, obviously you have Rhea and Charlotte who've had problems in the past. We've seen the last couple Raws, SmackDowns, where they're kind of forced to team together.
Mhm.
Same with Alexa Bliss and Charlotte having issues for a short time. But I mean, I really don't see a team with AJ Lee losing.
Yeah.
Um, I'm just curious how they what order they leave the cage at. I wonder if we're going to have to wait to see AJ Lee and Becky Lynch go at it, because I think that's what everybody's going to be waiting for,
Yep.
is when AJ Lee and Becky Lynch, clash together. But in general, I think I guess you can call it, or I'll call it team. Um, I'll just call it Team Rhea, I guess. I think are going to pick up the win
Mhm.
over Team Asuka, just because the amount of talent on the face side is heavy, and I really don't see them losing, especially, like I said, with AJ Lee on the team of Rhea, the team of Charlotte, Alexa
Mhm.
Bliss. I don't see them taking a loss. I don't know who's going to take the pin here. I would assume it'd be, I don't know, I'll go with probably Kyrie Zane, just because I don't think they're going to have anybody huge get pinned here. But ultimately,
Mhm.
like I said, I'm going with Team Rhea here. Not going to overthink it, like I said a couple minutes ago. But who do you think is going to win this match, and what are your overall thoughts?
Yeah. Um, I agree with you said at first. I think, we're in for another great women's War Games match like they've been over the past couple years, and my camera's falling. But you know, I totally agree with how uh how the team Rhea has way more star power than, Team Oscar. It's not even close. You have the whole squad of baby faces. You got Team Alexa in Charlotte, you got Rhea and Io, and you got AJ Lee. She is still probably one of the hottest baby faces right now, ever since that return. Um, and the one thing that kind of threw me, I don't know if you remember, we talked about this a few months ago. I was thinking that Becky was still going to hold on to the IC title, past this time. I thought that this was going to kind of reignite that feud between AJ and Becky, eventually leading to AJ getting that, getting that title. I still think she's gonna get that title. You saw her getting kind of close to Maxine Dupree there. Could that be like could that be a foreshadowing of a heel turn from AJ going after that title? You never know. Um, but I think on the heel side with Oscar, Kyrie, Nia Jax, Slash Legend, and Becky, um, I think they're gonna put up a great match. You have Lash Legend who's just getting called up to the main roster now. Many fans haven't seen what she can do. A lot of people don't watch NXT, so that's kind of cool to see. Nia Jax, obviously, she's just coming back now. She's been absent for quite a bit. But I gotta say, I think Becky might actually take this pin here. I think they could wrap up this whole storyline, this chapter between AJ and Becky, with AJ getting the pin on her, given the fact that she doesn't have the title anymore. I don't really see a reason for them to continue this feud. I feel like it's kind of run its course. Given the fact also that Becky is no longer part of the Vision. She's not, because they turned on Seth. She's not with him anymore. So yeah, give me the team of baby faces and give me AJ Lee pinning Becky kind of in a weird way here. Obviously, the safe option would be to say Kyrie. We love Kyrie Sane, but she's been taking a lot of pins lately. Um, but the safe option, AJ Lee pins Becky, finishes that story, or a part where you can go with it, and it's kind of weird. What if, Charlotte and Rhea end up having those problems that reignite in the War Games match? They start getting on each other's nerves and stuff, and the team of heels end up taking over, winning this match, to put over Becky, and the Kabuki Warriors. They're being the tag team champions. That's another option you can go with here, but I'm still leaning more towards the baby faces. So yeah, give me Team Rhea.
We've obviously spoken about the women's side of the War Games match, and now it's time to talk about the men's side, which could have a lot of, kind of tell us where the future of WWE is kind of looking. And I know, kind of walking in this match, there's a couple rumors. Just the highlighted one I'd say would be the Jey Uso possible heel turn that I think we've been all waiting for a couple months now. We thought he was going to turn heel a couple months ago, didn't end up turning heel. Then he had that weird feud with CM Punk that ultimately led to the start of the War Games match, which is now the Vision as we know it, which is Brock Lesnar, Drew McIntyre, Logan Paul, and obviously the members of the Vision
Yep.
versus pretty much the same talent that we saw last year. But my only issue is I don't understand why they threw Cody in instead of LA Knight when LA Knight kind of had the feud with the Vision in the first place. I was kind of confused why they left him out of this, but like I said, it's similar talent to what we saw last year. Going into this match, I honestly feel like I don't know, I feel like the Vision kind of need to win this, but also don't need to win this. So I'm kind of in the air with who's going to win this matchup. I think I'm going to go with the Vision, though, just because of. I don't know if the heel turn of Jay. I don't. If they have him turn heel, I really don't think it's going to happen during the match. I feel it could be a more after the match happens and occurs. But yeah, I think I'm going to go with Team Vision here. Don't really
Yeah.
know what's going to happen, to be honest. Obviously, the Brock Lesnar's in there. A main talking point, too, is Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar. We haven't seen those two kind of go at it for a little bit now.
Yep.
Because obviously Brock Lesnar really hasn't been in the company for a little bit, and Roman has also been off for a little bit of time. So it's actually going to be pretty nice seeing those two in the same ring competing. But like I said, I think I'm going to stick with my gut feeling here. And I think the Vision are going to win this. I know it's probably an popular take, but I think I'm going to go with the Vision. I think I'm going to stick with it. And how about you? Who do you think is going to win the
Yeah.
men's War Games?
Yeah, I've been saying this too. I think the Vision are going to win this. I just think there's far too many issues going on the babyface side. You have Jey Uso, who's been having this power issue, trying to be like more powerful than Jimmy, and them like not getting along with Roman really. Roman kind of telling Jey and like taking him under his wing and telling him like, you do you, take whatever you want. You have Roman, who openly said he does not like CM Punk or Cody Rhodes, on Raw. And he told them he's coming for their titles and they got to figure out which one he's coming for. So I feel like that's going to be an ever looming issue in this match. And given the fact that they lost the advantage match on Monday Night Raw. So I say give me the Vision here. I think Brock Lesnar, Drew McIntyre, all them, Logan Paul, Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed. I feel like they're just going to be overpowered. They're going to overpower the baby faces and their issues that they have. I think you're going to have Cody and Punk arguing with Roman the whole time. You're going to have Jey Uso having that, effect of him maybe teasing that heel turn that could be coming up soon. Like you said, I don't think it's going to happen during the match, but probably after, if something happens between, if Roman tries to push him too far and he has enough of it and snaps and, just takes everybody out. But the part that kind of really messed me up here, and I gotta agree with you. It was a great poll. Is why wasn't LA Knight in this match? It makes zero sense because you had multiple matches, multiple triple threat matches between CM Punk, Jey Uso, and LA Knight. They have CM Punk and Jey Uso in here, but you're missing LA Knight. I feel like the part that really upset me was how Jimmy kind of just threw himself in here. I love Jimmy, I love Jay together. But I feel like on a storyline level, it would have been better to have LA Knight. Um, and obviously, we are missing for a while now. I haven't heard any injury reports, but we're missing Randy Orton. I feel like he would have played a great factor into this match. Obviously, he hasn't had issues with the Vision at all, but I feel like him being in there. Obviously, he's had many problems with Drew McIntyre, many problems with Logan Paul. So I feel like he would have definitely added a lot to the table. And everybody in this match has had an issue with Brock Lesnar at one point or another. So adding Randy Orton, and he having his legendary return at Survivor Series, um, I feel like that's kind of missing here. Maybe I'm just biased because I love Randy Orton. But anyway, give me the Vision. I think you're going to see Logan Paul doing like a triple backflip off the top of the cell onto somebody. Hopefully, Bronson Reed doesn't break his feet again. And I want to also predict who will take this pin because it's up in the air. Every man has something going on. They have a bunch of star power, like I said. Um, but if I had to guess, maybe Logan Paul is going to knock out CM Punk. That right there would be absolutely insane. If Logan Paul were to get the pin over CM Punk, call his shot for this title, I feel like that would just be crazy. Like you said, you have Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns in there together at the same time. They haven't had a match since I believe SummerSlam of 22. Um, and just many, many storylines in this match that date back years, which is great to see. Um, I hear people talking about how it's like the same lineup on the babyface side as last year and stuff. I don't really see that as an issue. I see it as maybe they're not developing the main event scene as well as they could. Same people, but I don't know. Give me the heels here. Give me the Vision. I think they have a lot more on the table to build in the storyline. I think you're gonna have Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker going places, like evolving all the way through Mania and stuff, until that eventual Seth Rollins return. So, yeah, give me the Vision here, and give me Logan Paul getting the pin.
Yeah, and for everyone watching, obviously, make sure to drop your predictions down below, whether you agree with us or not. We, read every comment, so always interested to see what you guys think. And as far as Survivor Series goes, like I said, we're only a few days out
Yes, sir.
from it. We're both very excited. Obviously, a lot of feuds to be made after this PLE will be kind of a reset. I feel like they start resetting the feuds, kind of starting fresh after Survivor Series. So
Mm-hmm.
we'll see what happens. Obviously, one of two last John Cena's appearances on his farewell tour, his last Survivor Series. So we'll see how
Mm-hmm.
that goes. And as far as content goes, like I said, make sure to subscribe. We're close to 200 over on our YouTube channel, and our main social media that we use at this point is Over the Top Talk on Instagram. That's where you'll see lots of content. Probably this is seen as obviously last 2 weeks with WWE, so there'll probably be lots of John Cena content over on our Instagram. Like I said,
Yes,
that's
sir.
Over the Top Talk with no spaces. That's where we're most active. If you reach out to us to join a video like this one, we'll more than likely respond. We check messages pretty much every single day. And for everyone watching, make sure to like, subscribe, and we will catch you all in the next one. And War Games is among us, everybody.
Yes,
So see
sir.
you later.